Jumping in again, I do have a second channel for you to check out if you want to, just for content that's not Pretty Little Liars. Make sure to go check that out if you want to. I'll let you get on with the video now. Bye bye. Wow, okay. I'm still at the restaurant with this album, by the way. What an album. Wow, no, because the way this album came out at a time where, like, Miss Arda Grande, she read the diary, she read the notes app, she was on it with this one. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm better, which is great. Don't know how you guys are watching, like in what order you guys are watching these videos or whatever, but I had COVID like 2 weeks ago and it like killed me. I was so bad with it, but we're all good. We're much better. Energy's coming back. We're great. Okay, so today's video is kind of fun. I was looking through kind of the character analyses that I've done on this channel, and I've not done one for Jenna. And I think Jenna is one of the most wasted characters on the show. And for me, she's kind of like, okay, why is she there? Type of thing. You know what I mean? Along with Melissa, I think her and Melissa for me had a lot of potential on the show. I'm just gonna move back. I feel like I'm very close to the camera. Her and Melissa for me were the characters on the show that I was kind of like, okay, now what? Type of vibes, because I felt like they had very good writing. And they were kind of, you know, alluding to a lot of things with these characters, involving them in like the main stories. But then when we get to the main, like, you know, it's kind of like, well, now what type of thing. If you haven't watched my other videos, I've always said for Pretty Little Liars, the writing and the lead up to things happening is always so good. It's my favorite thing, like when we're trying to find out a story and like the writing's building up to it, or these characters getting involved. I think the writing is like really, really good. So I don't ever discredit the writers for kind of the build up to things, but then it's when we get to the final conclusion, it's falls off a bit, and it's kind of like, okay, that was boring. You know what I mean? And I think Jenna is a character that is very pretty much sums up this kind of like thought process for me. I'm gonna put a blanket on. I'm freezing. I'm so cold. I think for me, Jenna's introduction onto the show, I'm kind of skipping forward a little bit here, was a very prominent thing of like, oh, okay, we cannot trust this character. But Jenna just kind of resulted in a lot of, can she see? Can't she see? Oh my god, she can see. Wait, now she can't see again. Type of thing, rather than her actually having kind of a big conclusion to her character. And I also felt that Jenna's kind of story at the end of the show was very, very weird too. But we will get to that. In October 2008, Jenna moved to Rosewood after her mother married Toby's father. Toby is her stepbrother. She also was quite popular at Rosewood High, kind of straight off the bat. Alison really wanted to be friends with her, kind of invited her to the friendship group, but like Jenna denied being in the friendship group, and we see this in a flashback. And at the time, if you say no to Alison, it's kind of like, whoa, why would you not want to be part of Alison's group, blah blah blah. But Jenna really took her own kind of stand in the show, which is something, again, I really, really appreciated from Jenna. I actually don't like Jenna as a person because of some things we're going to talk about, but I liked aspects of where they were going with her, type of thing. And this for me was like a whoa, okay, this is someone that like isn't going to take any shit type of thing. So this then led to kind of a long rivalry between Alison and Jenna, and obviously Alison had a huge presence on the show prior to her like coming back redemption arc, which we will not talk about. So battling with Alison, we were always shown, was something that you don't really want to do. Whereas Jenna, like I said, was the character that actually stood up to her and was like, no, like, let's fight. If you want to fight, let's fight. Which I think was huge for... There's a motorbike outside my house, girl. Is it fireworks too? What's going on? But that was a huge thing, right? Huge thing. So we see her in season 1. She's being guided in by Toby, who obviously this isn't the final Toby. Toby actually did get recast. A few of the actors actually got recast, which was very interesting. And I think actually the recasts were a little bit better. Anyway, so she is being kind of led into Alison's funeral by Toby. And all of the girls turn around and are like, whoa, what's Jenna doing here? So we kind of are like, whoa, okay, who's this character? What's the history here? Because straight off the bat, these girls have history with Jenna, and we're kind of like, what's that about? Hello. Then there's a scene where Arya kind of invites Jenna to have lunch with the girls, and there's a lot of tension here, obviously, because we don't know what the secret is that they're kind of all holding about Jenna, or like their history with Jenna. So Jenna kind of makes several references to how the group has changed since Alison disappeared, and she also references that Alison came to visit her in the hospital, and that Jenna knows exactly the type of person that Alison is, and that everybody didn't really know who Alison was. They misunderstood her, which was very interesting. We're already setting layers of suspicion towards Jenna, and obviously there's this big secret that we don't really know what it is. In this same episode, which was called The Jenna Thing, we then find out what the Jenna Thing actually is, and we find out that Alison actually blinded Jenna by throwing like a firework into like their like barn. It set on fire, and Jenna was blinded. So this is the big secret that we're told. And this is a crazy secret, actually. This is insane. And you can't really blame Jenna for having this hatred towards Alison. I feel like that's something the show kind of mixed up a lot. It was kind of seen that Jenna was a bad person for having this like envy towards Alison and the girls for what happened, but it's like, I think that's valid. I don't even like Jenna, but I think it's very much valid that she is allowed to feel angry because of the fact she was blinded by someone. Like, hello, what are we doing? Everyone, like, guys, please. Then in the episode To Kill a Mockingbird, the Toby recast is here, everyone. Jenna walks through the halls. There's a lot at the school corridor, hallways, I don't know what Americans call them. There's a lot of whispering going on, and Jenna kind of drops the comment that, oh, it's like Alison is still alive. Fun fact, Alison is actually alive. Emily thanks Toby for like the whole Ben situation, saving her from Ben, but Jenna's also there when Emily thanks him. Like, she's not known to be there, but she is there, and she's like, why is Emily saying thank you for? She's very controlling. She's very controlling, which we will kind of get onto why that was a thing, but we're kind of understanding her character a lot more. Very secretive. She wants to kind of be in control a lot, and weird vibes, right? Weird vibes from Jenna. The whole Jenna, like, the only thing the writers give us really to do with Jenna, or like the main thing, is that she's creepy. We don't really know what's going on. We don't really know what the vibes are. This creepiness is kind of continued in the episode titled Reality Bites Me, where Jenna is seen on her way to work at the dentist's office, you know, when she like crashes. Oh my god, what's his name? She crashes that guy's car. Oh my god, I forgot his name. And Jenna is seen kind of getting into the elevator and like putting on a lipstick. Then I think they conclude that this lipstick is actually the one that Alison uses, or something like that. I think maybe A used it too. Either way. But Jenna asks Hannah if she likes the colour of lipstick. I don't think Jenna is aware that that's Hannah, but also I don't really know, because I don't know when Jenna can see and when she can't see, because the show doesn't really make sense with that. I don't know. Anyways, I'm not too sure what episode exactly it gets revealed in. I'm going to put a trigger here for kind of essay, and so you can skip to another point if you feel uncomfortable around that subject. But in one of the episodes, it's actually revealed that Jenna is assaulting Toby, and like kind of using him in that way, and then Alison kind of knew about that, and that's she got Toby to kind of confess to the Jenna thing, which is why he went to prison. And that whole thing happens. And it's kind of crazy because, like I said in my Peter Hastings video, it's kind of interesting or annoying, frustrating that the male victims of this show don't really get as much recognition for what's kind of going on. And I don't really feel like what happened with Toby and Jenna fully got kind of forefronted or kind of like, actually, this is not right type of thing, which is super, super annoying and frustrating. And I get the same thing with the Toby Jenna stuff that I did with like the Peter Hastings, Mary Drake stuff. I think it's not really spoken about as it should be, and that's really, really annoying. So I'm going to highlight that about Jenna's character because I never really kind of moved past that. I think a lot of people see Jenna as like a girl boss and things like that, which is great, but also because the show failed to acknowledge the issue, I think a lot of people kind of forget about it or don't really focus on that, which is frustrating. So that's that. Then in The Homecoming Hangover, this is after the episode where Toby and Emily have that kind of thing at prom. They're like suspecting he killed Allison, blah, blah, blah. So Jenna actually visits Emily in the hospital with her dog Shadow, and she's very sympathetic to Emily, and she's like, oh, I know how Toby can be so manipulative and things like that, which is crazy considering what I just spoke about. She knows that Toby's file is missing and wants to get it back, whether that's because there's information regarding, you know, what's going on with them two or whatever. She's very controlling and she thinks Emily has it. Emily is kind of open to give the file because of the whole Jenna thing. She feels very kind of bad about what happened. But then when Jenna asks for it again later on, Emily tells her that the file is gone. Jenna gets very mad by this and she's like, I can't believe I trusted you, blah, blah, blah. So in the episode, Please Do Talk About Me When I'm Gone, which is a crazy title. I kind of love that. Jenna speaks at Allison's memorial and everyone's kind of skeptical about this. The girls, because obviously they know the Jenna thing happened. So she's like, oh, is she going to like out the Jenna thing? Like, what's going on? Are we going to be in trouble? But she shares really kind of nice words about Allison and says that Allison really kind of got Jenna to understand her identity at the hospital and things like that. So everyone's kind of like, oh, right, okay, interesting. In the episode titled Moments Later, Emily is trying to get an update on Toby because of everything. He's innocent, blah, blah. Jenna says that he doesn't want to talk to her, and then Emily kind of throws some shade talking about the incest stuff, and then that really kind of fuels Jenna, gets her very, very mad. So we're still fueling the Jenna's a creep, weirdo, she is suspicious, we don't know what's going on with her type of vibe, right? In the episode titled Salt Meets Wound, Jenna finds out that Toby likes Emily. She gets very jealous about this, and there is some violence here. She could be violent towards Toby a lot of the time, and it's sad to see Toby in this state actually, and Jenna is just super, super controlling, and I don't really know how this is not picked up on more. In the episode titled The Badass Seed, Jenna volunteers to play the flute at a school play, and she writes an essay to like submit, which kind of talks about the events and like alludes to the way she was blinded. Ezra reads it and he kind of comes to the conclusion that Jenna being blind wasn't an accident, and he does think that it was Toby that like blinded her. However, Arya confesses to Ezra that they were the ones that actually blinded Jenna, and then Jenna kind of makes remarks later on about their romantic relationship, which kind of scares Arya a little bit because she's like, what do you know? And like, are you gonna say stuff? So once again, Jenna's like a source of information. She's very interesting here. She's getting all the secrets, and I think she knows a lot more than what obviously we are shown. And that was kind of what I really enjoyed about the writing about Jenna's character. In the episode titled Someone Watch Over Me, the girls find out that Jenna actually paid Caleb to get information kind of on the girls and Hannah and things like that. And this was like the ultimate betrayal, and I loved this. And which is why I always very keen on someone being who felt like a betrayal, because something like this, I really liked Caleb. Well, I liked him up to a point anyways. So when this kind of happened, I was like, no, because I really, really liked the relationship, and the betrayal was such like a, oh my God moment, which, like I said, if A would have been someone like that would have felt like a betrayal, I would have loved it, because it's so like a smack in your face, like, what the hell? Like, you know what I mean? So Hannah slaps Jenna, because obviously she's like, what the hell is going on? Jenna's very hurt by it, Hannah's very hurt by it, and I don't know, this was kind of a gag. I loved this moment. I thought it was so good. Like, yes, like we're like involving like characters that like I really like, and it was just a time where it was like, oh, like things are at stake here, you know what I mean? But they don't carry it on. In the episode titled Monsters in the End, Spencer goes to Toby. They're kind of talking about going on a little date. Jenna kind of overhears. She comes out of the house, tells Toby to drive her to school, and we don't know what Jenna heard about the whole conversation, which I love. Yes. Yes, girl. Like, please, did you hear it? Did you not? Loved it. It was great. It was great. Great time on the show. In the episode For Whom the Bell Tolls, they kind of find out why Jenna paid Caleb to kind of, you know, do what he did. And she reveals that Allison did come to the hospital, but she threatened Jenna with leaking the Toby information, because obviously Allison thought that Jenna might have been and she was like eliminating her suspects. So the girls kind of conclude that she came back to Rosewood to really make sure that Allison was dead. Season 2 comes, and in the episode title It's Alive, this is after Ian dies, Garrett is with the girls. He pulls the girls over, they talk about what happened, and then we see Jenna kind of just loitering around. Don't really know what she's doing. She's very creepy here. Once again, I love it. Like, Jenna's just wandering the streets. We don't know what's going on, what she's like involved in, what she's hearing, what if she can see at this stage. So fun. Love this writing. It's so, so, so fun. In the episode titled My Name is Trouble, this is the scene where Aria and Jenna are like doing pottery, and she doesn't know that it's Aria, and she thinks it's someone else. And it's interesting, this scene, because Jenna seems much more, I think, present in herself, but also reflective on a lot of things in her life. She seems a lot sadder than like the person she shows elsewhere, and I find that very interesting, because I love characters like that who kind of have layers to them, as cringy and as like stereotypical as it sounds. The way she presents herself to us, or like to the girls, is very strong and very like, you know, she's been through all of this, but like it's not broken her, things like that. But when you actually dig inside of her, there's this layer of just sadness of because of everything that's happened. And I found this really, really interesting. But she finds out that it was Aria, and she goes ballistic at Aria. She's like, what the hell is going on here? Then in the episode titled Surface Tension, Aria finds the pottery piece that like Jenna made. She assumes that Mike stole it. This is when he was in his like robbing era on The Sims, when you're a kleptomaniac. Anyway, Mike says that he stole it from Garrett's house. So then this kind of builds some debate on Garrett and Jenna and what they're up to. And this was very interesting, because we had no idea really what was going on here. The Garrett and Jenna stuff I actually really enjoyed too, just because it was like, girl, tell us what's going on. Like, generally, are they together? Like, what were they working on? We find out a lot of this, but yeah, it kind of goes deep with Jenna and Garrett, which I really, really appreciated. I think it was really, really cool. Because this is carried on in the episode titled Save Your Date, where Garrett goes to Jenna's house and the girls spy on them, and they see Garrett and Jenna like kissing, making out, blah, blah. I'm like, does no one close the blinds these days? Do curtains not exist? Why are you openly making out in front of a window? Like, where anyone can see? Not even like, okay, let's say you're like second floor or above, right? Maybe I can get it, right? Because you're like, people can't easily look through. If you're on the first floor, what are you doing? Honest to God, what are you doing? I kissed someone in front of a window once, and I was like, hold on, let's go somewhere else. Because I was like, there's people outside, like they could be watching us. I'm like, guys, where is the common sense these days? Do you know what I mean? Like, in the episode titled Picture This, Jenna says that she can get her cornea replaced or something like that. And so there might be a possibility that she would be able to see again, which is interesting, actually. No, actually, I was fascinated by this. I don't know, like, I just think surgeries are so, like, wow. Because, no, hear me out. This is so off topic, guys. But imagine letting someone being able to see or like hear again. That is like, sorry, like that is like the best gift you can give someone, and I can't believe that like surgeries like allow that. Like, sorry, this is, hello, like this is crazy. Anyways, in the episode Touched by an Angel, Spencer and Jenna have a little bit of a fight because they've kind of gone back on a few agreements they made with each other, and they kind of mock each other really, because Spencer mocks the relationship that Toby and Jenna had, and then also says to Jenna, "Can you say hi to Garrett from me?" Gag moment, actually. That was great. That was a great time. Anyway, in Over My Dead Body, we actually find out that Garrett and Jenna wrote a letter to Jason, which alluded to Jason killing his own sister. They're really trying to get back at Jason. They really don't like Jason. They always refer to like the Jason thing, kind of like the Jenna thing, which I assume now is the letter. Basically, at this stage, oh my god, I can't really tell you the story without like jumping further. But Jenna says that Allison deserved to die like that, because we find out later on that Jenna thinks Garrett killed Allison because Allison kind of, how do I explain it? How do I explain it, guys? Garrett and Jenna and Allison got into a fight that night. He kind of pretended to hit Allison, and then Allison stayed quiet, so Jenna assumes that she's dead. So Jenna always thinks that the person who killed Allison is Garrett, but she doesn't actually know that like that didn't happen because she couldn't see, and Allison was very much alive at this point. Anyway, then we have the episode titled The First Secret, which is the Halloween episode, and there's loads of flashbacks about kind of what I explained at the start. Allison invites Jenna to be part of her group. Jenna says no. Allison's like, what the hell? Like, no one says no to me. And then they kind of have this whole feud. They both want to dress up as Lady Gaga for Halloween. But Jenna outdoes Allison. I'm not gonna lie here, guys. I'm not gonna lie here. She ate her up. She ate her up. Oh my god. We explore a lot of Jenna and Allison's dynamic here with each other, and it's not good. It's not good. In A Hot Piece of A, she has a fight with Garrett because Garrett's like, we shouldn't have brought a third person into the plan. So we're like, what's going on? But then Jenna leaves to go and have her eye surgery in Boston. In the episode titled The Blonde Leading the Blind, we see Noel and Jenna start hanging out and talking with each other. And we're like, right, this is interesting, because this is kind of when Noel's character is coming a bit more present in the show, a bit more interesting. I like to call Noel the most irrelevant character, because he's so irrelevant in the show, in the story, but actually he's involved in like the main plot points of the show. So this is kind of when Noel's character is really kind of taking center stage, taking a presence on the show, much to my dismay. What are we doing here, guys? Let's wrap this up. In The Naked Truth, there starts to be some tension between Jenna and Caleb. They start to kind of have a little spit spat at each other here and there. This is when they're kind of in a circle and like they have to tell truths, like that they're like maybe hiding. So Caleb is kind of like taking a poke at Jenna, being like, are we telling the whole truth? But yeah, there's a bit of a spit spat there. And Jenna kind of talks about like the girls cornering her and like bullying her, blah, blah, blah. In the episode titled Eye of the Beholder, Jenna has just come out of surgery. I don't think we know if it worked at this point yet. I can't really remember. But anyway, someone lures her to Jason's house, and they set the house on fire. And then Hannah ends up putting her out. And in the hospital later on, this is the first time that Jenna's actually like scared, which is so interesting. Hello everyone, because obviously, like I said, we're presented with this character who's super strong and, you know, nothing will defeat her, blah blah blah. And then we get the first sense of actually she's scared. She doesn't know what's going on here. So she kind of thanks Hannah for what happened, and there's some kind of nice resolve here type of thing, but obviously I don't think everything between the girls and Jenna would ever be the same, but there was some type of like, okay, thank you for this, like thank you for saving my life. But yeah, it's interesting seeing the shift in Jenna's character, and I don't know, I found that just very interesting because it was like night and day, and the first time she showed any type of fear. So we were really like, oh, we gotta be scared of this A. If Jenna's scared, we gotta be scared. You know what I mean? In the episode titled If These Dolls Could Talk, there's a scene where Jenna removes her bandage and she starts crying. So we kind of don't know at this point if it's good news or bad news, but she goes up to the girls and she tells the girls that, you know, her surgery didn't work and she can't see. However, later on in the episode, we see that she very, very much can see and that the surgery was a success at this stage. So now she's kind of hiding behind, you know, her previous lack of sight so she could be able to get all these secrets and things like this, which is so fun. No, not fun. No, it's not good, guys. It's not good. I don't recommend this, actually. The writing of this for a show like Pretty Little Liars is so, so, so good. Like, you've got a blind girl who the girl's blinded. She's now pretending to still be blind, but she can actually see, and she's getting everybody's secrets by pretending to be blind. Gag. No, I see what they were doing there. Can I show you guys my crochet? Oh my god, wait. Sorry, this is so off topic. Look at that! Oh, it looks ugly on camera. Guys, it's not ugly in person. That's me about my ex. Wait, focus. Is it focusing? I don't know. Do you like it? It's strawberries. Do you guys like... Sorry. I've got some laying on my desk, some fails of it. And, yeah, you guys like it? Sorry, off topic. Anyway, okay. In the episode titled Unmasked, Gemma has a secret meeting with someone. Jenna says that she always thought about that moment and what she would say if she saw this stranger again. She gives something to this person and says they're all going to be at the party, you know what you need to do. And then she's later seen at the masquerade party spying on Aria and seen talking to Lucas and the Black Swan. This is interesting because at this point the Black Swan, who we actually spoke about at one point, I can't remember what video that was in, the Black Swan was like a big moment on the show in terms of, we were very much told whoever the Black Swan was like involved somehow, and that the Black Swan held very big importance. Marlene King, we all know who Marlene King is. If you don't, please get familiar with Marlene King. She alluded to multiple times that the Black Swan was very important, and she's the director of the show. I'm going to listen to the director of the show. Key advice, don't listen to the director of the show, because the Black Swan actually turned out to be nothing really and was like a red herring. And like, fair enough, red herrings are fine. Nothing, I don't know, everything on Pretty Little Lies doesn't always need to add up or like be involved. However, girl, the Black Swan, don't think I've forgotten about that, because don't think I've ever forgotten about that, girl. That was a time. So them interacting for us as an audience after Marlene King had told us that this is very important, we were then obviously like, wow, okay, right, noted. Do you know what I mean? In the episode titled Blood is the New Black, they are very suspicious about whether Jenna can actually see or not. So they end up kind of setting up a trap, because Toby says that she's been getting eye drops even though the surgery didn't work. So they pretty much come to the conclusion that Jenna can see. So they end up setting a trap to find out if Jenna can see or not. And then they find out she cannot see. In the episode titled Kingdom of the Blind, Jenna tells the girls, I'm reading from some notes. Jenna tells the girls she's been able to see from the first operation and didn't tell anyone. She states that it was the only protection I had. Basically, at this point as well, this is when the whole Emily thing happens, where Emily digs up Allison's grave and she doesn't know what happened that night. And it turns out Jenna is involved and drove Emily that night, which is very important. Hello, like Jenna's really involved here. But Jenna said that she thought Emily was so messed up that night that she wouldn't remember seeing her. Her plan was to take Emily home, but Emily freaked out and jumped out of the car around midnight or half midnight. Jenna wants them to keep it a secret because she's still a target and she thinks that they owe her. I won't lie, the last bit, gag. Like the last bit, like I kind of understand Jenna. Jenna's very scared and I do think the girls do owe her. Like as much as I love the girls, I'm always on their side, you know, me and them are tight. I do think Jenna has a point in terms of it's her protection and they do owe her. So I do think that's a bit of a gag from Jenna, actually. I do think that was a gag. But coming back to the main point here, like I said, Jenna's involved in the main bits. Her being involved in this whole Emily thing was very, very important. But like I said, the conclusion of Jenna kind of comes to nothing. So it's very, very disappointing in the end, which sucks. But I love the writing surrounding Jenna. I just think it's really, really good. In the episode titled That Girl Is Poison, Jenna rocks up at school without her, I don't know what they call it. I think they call it a cane, like the stick, and the glasses. She rocks up without them and she says that she's suddenly able to see, which is like, okay girl, everyone is like congratulating her, things like that, except for the liars. Jenna says that she feels safe now and she feels in control of what could happen to her, and she invites the liars to her birthday party because I think she kind of wants to move on. She doesn't. Anyway, in the episode titled The Khan Game, this is when Noel has like a party at his like barn and Spencer, Aria and Jenna and Noel play a game of like truths. And a lot of things happen within this game. Jenna wants to get back the videos of like NAT Club and her and Toby and things like that, but Spencer says she can have the videos back once she reveals where Alison's body is, because obviously Emily dug up Alison's body and the body's not there. So the whole thing is like, where is the body? And obviously because Jenna had some involvement, they think Jenna knows where the body is. So in the episode titled Single Fright Female, Jenna has been kind of trying to date Nate, who killed Maya. Nate finds out that Jenna's not actually blind anymore and gets very, very angry at Jenna. And then Jenna goes to Emily and says that she wants to tell her something, but she warns her to be very careful who she spends her time with, and is seen then getting into a cab and leaving town because she had luggage in the back. So we're also alluding more to the fact that Jenna's a bit scared. She's a bit scared of someone, but we don't know who. But the fact that like Nate had this whole outburst and then she's saying it obviously makes us question Nate a little bit. So once again, she's very involved in a lot of the main plot points. In the episode titled She's Better Now, Jenna apparently has moved schools, like transferred schools, which Spencer tells us about, which is interesting. In the episode titled A Dangerous Game, Shauna and Jenna meet in the park and they appear to be very friendly. She tells Shauna that they will all be there Friday and she knows what she needs to do. Shauna asks about her doctor's appointment and Jenna implies she may be losing her sight again. And Shauna tells her that even in her darkest days, she'll be there for her. Later, the two of them meet with Melissa, who informs them where the liars will be tonight. So this is interesting. The relationship that Jenna and Shauna have, to me, still kind of came out of the blue. I don't really know what was going on there, I won't lie. Again, I'm just reiterating the fact that Jenna's involved in a lot of the main plot points on the show. She's very mysterious on the show. I love the writing surrounding her, like I said. And yeah, I just love it. I love it very much. Also involving Melissa, because a lot of people were suspecting Melissa at this stage and like her involvement in everything. I think that was a good thing to tie into it too. But Melissa is, along with Jenna, is one of the characters, like I said, who I feel like gets so done by the conclusion of their writing, like in the end of it. In A is for Alive, Jenna approaches Emily, and it's kind of alluding to the fact again that Jenna's kind of losing her sight again. I don't really know what went on there, but she ended up losing it again. She also has a burn on her hand, which kind of alludes to the fact that she was at the lodge fire, which is very, very interesting. Jenna says that everybody who saw Allison that night is suddenly waking up dead. So she's trying to kind of say, if anything happens to me, potentially it's because of this. Or if anything happens to Toby, maybe it's because of this. Then at Wilden's funeral, we see Jenna wearing her glasses again, so alluding to the fact that she's lost her eyesight again. In the episode titled Into the Deep, Jenna reveals that she thinks Allison is still alive. Spencer asks Jenna about her sight, but Jenna says that she kind of sees everything that she has to see. Gag! No, because Jenna's like kind of one-liners or like quick little like comebacks are so good. I think that what made me really like the writing around Jenna's character and like the mysterious thing around it, because the way she actually spoke was very mysterious, and like literally a line like this, I see everything I need to. Get him again, Jenna! Do it, girl! That's fun. That's really, really fun. In this episode, someone actually hits Jenna in the back of the head and she's like floating face first in the water. I think this was Cece. I forgot, I will be honest. But this was a fun time. No, not fun. I'm not saying it was good that it happened. But this was a dramatic time. I was like, wow, this episode was actually really, really good. I fucked with this episode, actually. In A is for Answers, we see Allison visiting Jenna at the hospital and showing Jenna one of the videos of her and Toby making out type of thing, and she like threatens her with it because Allison's trying to figure out who A is, and she's trying to get people off her list, and this is Jenna's kind of blackmail to stop being A, but it actually doesn't stop, so Allison's wrong and Jenna is actually not A at this stage. Obviously we know because it was Mona. In season 5, Miss Me times 100, Jenna's really having a hard time because Allison has come back and she obviously has her things with Allison still. She's very scared of Allison still. But also Shauna has just died when Arya killed her, like random death actually. But she's having a rough time because she doesn't have Shauna anymore. Allison's back. I think Jenna's very aware that she feels unsafe again. Yeah, she can't see, obviously, again. So that is also her kind of thing gone. And I think she's just very scared, really, about kind of what's going to happen and kind of not knowing what the future has to hold. Her and Shauna were very, very close with each other. So losing someone very quickly and then having literally Allison, the person who blinded you and threatened you, etc., come back, I think was very, very overwhelming for her. Jenna and Allison have a bit of a talk in the episode titled March of Crimes, where Jenna says that she came back to school a few weeks ago but no one seemed to notice. Jenna says that, but then again, I didn't come back from the dead. Allison mentions that she's very sorry about Shauna and that she meant a lot to her too. Jenna thanks her and Jenna says that she's sorry for Allison as well. And Jenna says it must be hard to come back here knowing someone is still after you, which is very, very interesting because we didn't know that someone's still after Allison. Now, this is also when kind of the A team starts forming, which includes Jenna in it, which is interesting because I think A and the person who's still after Allison can be classified as two people, just because of who A was. But very interesting. You see, I'm loving the writing around Jenna. I just really appreciate the creepiness and the kind of like, what does she mean by that type of vibes. At some point, Jenna and Sydney are a thing. Emily tries to warn Sydney about Jenna. I kind of forgot Sydney was a character. I will not lie to you. I don't really know what that whole kind of thing was about. But Sydney states that Jenna is not the enemy here. Blah, 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 blah. So Jenna, after this, is not really seen that much or mentioned that much until season 7. She's mentioned briefly here and there. She went to prom. They talk about that. They say that Charles is definitely not Jenna. And Jenna's seen briefly in a flashback. But apart from this, nothing really happens a lot with Jenna. But in season 7, which, I don't know, I find Jenna season 7 a little bit, just because like how she found out who A was, I always laugh about it because I just think it was the most odd thing ever, I will not lie. So in the episode titled Hit and Run Run Run, Jenna returns to Rosewood. She tells the girls that she's there for Toby's engagement to Yvonne. Rest in peace, my girl. She also congratulates Hannah on her engagement, and she then says that she should visit Alison at Welby to return her favour for the time she visited her a few years ago, which is funny because that was not a nice visit that Alison did to Jenna, so that's hilarious. Anyway, Jenna then sees Toby outside the police station. She explains that she came to be forgiven and that they can be a family. Toby reminds her that she tried it 3 years ago and it didn't work, but Jenna replies that she would really like to try again. I don't really know what's going on in her mind, because Jenna, like I said, assaulted Toby and was very mean to him and very controlling, and I don't think she can expect Toby to be like, yeah, let's be a family now that time has moved on, because like that's not how it works. Like, time is a healer in some cases, but not in everything. It's not a present message for, you know, every traumatic thing that someone goes through. And I think something like that too is very much something that sticks with you for a very, very long time. So I don't think it's fair for Jenna to be like, why is he not forgiving me for? You know what I mean? I'm gonna skip forward a bit to because the ending is really what I'm focusing on here. But in The Darkest Night, which is the episode where Spencer gets shot and we find out that Mary is actually Spencer's mum, Jenna is in the a blind house with Noel, and she's trying to kill the girls because ultimately A kind of blackmailed her with money and said to fix her blindness again. So she tries to go after the girls. So she kind of is waving a gun around. She can't see at this stage. She doesn't know really what's going on. Now, I find it very interesting here because there's 2 gunshots that go off. I remember at the time there were so many theories. It was like, there's two of them, what's going on? I don't think Jenna was actually the one to shoot Spencer. I'm pretty sure that was Alex. I can be wrong here. But yeah, basically Noel ends up dead. We know how he died, which was such a funny death, by the way. If you died like that, I feel like that's so embarrassing. I would be so embarrassed. Are you kidding me? I would be fuming if that's how I died. Like, that is such an embarrassing thing. I remember when it happened, I was just laughing the whole time because I'm like, what do you mean that's how he died? But that's why I get really infuriated by the Noel stuff, because I'm like, he's literally in every single storyline, and he's like kind of prominent in like the big ones. Like, he helped Alison disappear, he helped Cece build Dollhouse, he's now involved in this stuff with Alex, but he's also very irrelevant. Like, I don't really know why he's there, and I feel like Noel is such a cop-out for, oh, we need someone to help, quick, let's get Noel on it. Do you know what I mean? That's why I get so infuriated with that, because I'm like, that was just so random for them to do. Anyways, then she actually gets kidnapped by AD at the end of this, and kidnapped in a good way, in terms of like, right, we're gonna work with each other type of thing, which is why Jenna's whole conclusion, which we haven't even got to yet, really infuriates me, because I'm like, this whole time she's been so super creepy, and her, you know, one-liners or like comebacks are really, really good. She's hanging out with the people who are like working with A, or have involvement with A, or have involvement elsewhere. She literally gets kidnapped by AD so that she could work for AD, and like nothing comes from it. I like, honest to God, nothing comes from it. So this is kind of when it gets revealed that Jenna was not really the one to shoot Spencer, because in the episode titled Playtime, Jenna's been now missing for a week, and Marco, the police officer at the time, reveals that the weapon Jenna had in her possession did not match the bullet that Spencer received, which fed onto the theories that actually it was AD, or Alex, who we know now. So Jenna is then seen sitting in a dark room drinking tea. She hands the mug to AD, who is wearing blue latex gloves and a doctor's uniform. Jenna reminds AD that she was supposed to tell her about today's game, the board game stuff. AD then places a folder onto Jenna's lap containing pages written in Braille. After reading, Jenna smiles and says, "Game over." What do you mean this happens and absolutely nothing comes from it? What do you mean? Guys, am I the problem? No, because is it me? Am I the drama? Like, I'm just like, you do all of this, and then Jenna's ultimate conclusion is nothing? No, guys, I'm in disbelief. I am in disbelief, actually. I really, really am. What do you mean? What do you mean? So, in the episode titled "These Boots Are Made for Stalking," Jenna goes to Marco Fury, says she's been hiding since the whole incident happened, but she's now ready to tell the truth. Interesting. How convenient. How convenient. But basically, she says that Noel Khan killed Sarah Harvey. Once again, irrelevant. And he was going to kill her too. He told Jenna that some of the money Cece had left was intended to pay for a new operation for her eyes. Therefore, Noel recruited Jenna to find the money, but he was determined to keep it all to himself because he was broke. Anyway, so then she kind of grassed up Noel, basically. No, Noel deserved it, actually. No, because why would you not? Girls, if you have any chance to reveal a man's truth, do it. We don't like men around here. No, we do. Sorry, I've just left a situationship, so it's we don't like men around here, actually. We don't. Anyway, I want to skip to the part that I'm talking about. In the final episode, Jenna is now a teacher at Rosewood High. They're employing criminals these days for our youth. No wonder. No wonder, guys. I don't know how she got a job as a teacher. I won't lie. I work in a school and don't really know how she did that. Anyway, this is actually a very iconic scene. She confronts Addison, who is like, they're lining up to be the new Allison. Addison kind of taunts her, but she grabs Addison's hand and she says she can't see anything, but she can smell a bitch from a mile away. Love it! Love it! Love it! No, that was iconic. It was. She then tells Allison that she's surprised because she thought Allison was the meanest girl that she met, but it was actually Addison, which is interesting because they didn't do any... The whole Addison stuff is so stupid. I'm so sorry. What even the hell was that about? Anyway, no, because I'm mad, actually. No, I'm joking. So, then we have the whole thing. The whole thing, right? Where Jenna finds out that Alex is Alex because Spencer isn't wearing her normal perfume. Yeah. Yeah. Now, I understand the whole thing about when one of your senses is taken away, another one is heightened. Totally get it. What if Spencer just tried out a different... I don't wear the same perfume every day. I switch between 3 perfumes. Doesn't mean that I'm A. Do you know what I mean? So this felt very odd, and I still laugh about it to this day because I can't believe they found out who AD was because someone was wearing a different perfume. Guys, what are we doing? Is everyone alright? What's going on, Hans? Are we doing alright? Do you know what I mean? Not trying to be mean or not trying to be rude. I feel like we could have gone about this in a different way. That's just my opinion. I feel like we could have went blockbuster with this. You know, you're ending one of the biggest teenage shows or 2010s shows, and we're finding out because someone's perfume is different. No, because listen to this. I have a rotation of perfumes, right? I only really wear Ariana Grande perfumes because I think they're brilliant. I think they're a 10 out of 10. I go between God is a Woman, Mod Vanilla, Love Notes, Cloud. I go through many. Doesn't mean that I'm AD or that I have a secret evil twin who's actually locked me in a basement. I get what they were trying to do with the whole senses thing, but I just found this so underwhelming. What do you mean this is how we find out? It just made no sense to me because I'm like, right, Yeah. All right. Because it was already kind of disappointing. We had the entire episode, most of it was to do with the relationships. And look, I don't mind rooting for relationships and things like that. But for a show like Pretty Little Liars, where it's like, okay, in the last episode, we're going to find out, we have enough time to do the relationship stuff in the other episodes, girl. But when you spend so long on the relationships and then the actual reveal itself is horrendous, very, very bad, for us then to be given this, it's kind of a smack in the face, I will be honest. It's kind of like, okay, right. And this is what I mean by Jenna's character conclusion not being great. Because like we've spoken about today, her writing was so good. I have absolutely zero issue with the way they did her character, like the writing and the build up to stuff. I think it was very good, kind of the creepiness that she showed, but also the way she was kind of just lingering around, the whole thing of can she see, can't she see, what did she see, what can she hear, things like that, but also her involvement with like very key moments on the show. I loved that whole stuff, and I'm not saying necessarily that I wanted Jenna to be A. I don't think I did. I think if she got revealed as A, I would have been a bit let down, actually. But I think the conclusion of her character very much gives Alice a redemption arc in terms of what are we doing? Do we know what we're doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, not to sound mean, not to sound rude or anything like that, but it was a moment of like, right, okay, we've kind of done nothing with her. Her becoming a teacher at the end of the show is not, I don't think fits her character at all and the way she was written throughout the show. And I think they just had to kind of do something quickly, kind of like what they did with Allison. I don't really know what I would have done for Jenna, but I just think the ending for a character like Jenna should have been much more than what we were given, I think. And I think her kind of being a little bit nice to Allison towards the end wasn't that great either. I don't think she has any she doesn't have to be nice to her, right, or anything like that. So I found that a little bit weird. Like I said, I wouldn't have had her being AD. My pick for AD, well, first of all, I would have ended the show at season 6 personally, and I would have had Ren Ren or Arya be A. No, I would have had Ren be Charles, and then if we had to do an AD, I would have had Arya. But Jenna's not my pick to be AD. Or A. I don't think that's what I want. But I just think when you have a character like Jenna who's very prominent on the show, she has many big like one-liners and comebacks and things like that. And even the thing that Hannah says, what does she say? She can't hear us, she's blind or something like that. To have that for your character and like a prominent thing, I think just means that Jenna needed a bigger closing than what she did. I felt like it was very, I don't know. It's like with Melissa. I've done a video on Melissa before. Melissa had all this backing of like she's involved somehow, she's creepy, we don't know what she knows, we don't know what she hears, blah blah blah. And then it came to nothing. We never really saw Melissa that much again, apart from like the Bethany stuff. So I feel like Jenna had the same root of that, and we've written her very well. The build-up's very good. We love it, but we don't know how to conclude this character. I think Pretty Little Liars had a big issue with that. There's a lot of characters I didn't like their ending. I don't like Allison when she came back from the dead. A lot of the girls' endings I'm not really sure on. I don't mind Hannah's. I don't like Arya's. I forgot even what happened to Emily. Girl. Spencer's is okay, but I would have preferred Toby to actually be with Yvonne. So there's a lot of the characters where I just think their conclusions were just not good. And I think the conclusions, or like the lack of conclusions, happened so regularly that it's not really a coincidence now, and that's more of a pattern, and maybe the show didn't really know how to finish the show, which I understand because like Pretty Little Liars is a big show. And to end something like that is kind of like, how do you do that? But you need to plan for that. And I just think when you have things like, it's not really a good example now. So Marvel pre-Endgame, everything felt very planned out and very together. We knew what was kind of going on, and when these characters were being introduced, everything kind of made sense. But then with Pretty Little Liars, none of the show to me felt like, okay, this has been planned since the start. They've known exactly what they've been doing, things like that. So it's a bit of a tricky one because I don't really think they knew where they were going with the main plot. And then when you take into consideration, we have all these other characters that need to be concluded, is kind of like they don't really know how to do it. If they didn't really know how to conclude Jenna's character, I just wouldn't have brought her back because she's not really seen post, when is it? Post Cece reveal. I don't think she's really in the story that much. Or how the A stole Christmas. After that, she's not really mentioned much or anything like that. So they could have just left it like that. And if they didn't want to conclude Jenna's character, or they didn't really know how to, they didn't have to bring her back. But because they brought her back, I was like, okay, we're going to get a really good conclusion here. But we don't, which is very disappointing. But yeah, I would love to hear your opinions down below regarding Jenna. I just think she's a super interesting character. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.